backstage at Sask Place with the wrestlers of the WWE. And with me now is the very lovely Dawn Marie. Dawn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
Talking to the superstars of the WWE. How can you be having a bad day when that's going on? You got to Saskatoon last night. Mm-hmm. How's Saskatoon treating you?
I was treating me pretty well. I got up early this morning, went to the gym, and we had an early show day at 1:30, so we didn't get much to do, but I'm looking forward to an exciting night. Where are we going?
I have no idea.
I thought maybe you're going to take me on a date or something.
Well,
oh, okay, I'm
sorry. You know, my wife might come, but...
That's cool.
Okay. And moving on here, how are you enjoying the weather? A little cold for you?
It's a little cold, but I'm from the East Coast, and I'm used to a little of this cold weather. But it is cold. Yeah. Good thing I brought my winter coat.
Yeah. How did you get started in wrestling?
I got started back in 1995. I used to do some acting and modeling. A gentleman came to my house. I was doing a modeling contract and just finishing up, and I had to sign up some posters, and he used to do some small independent wrestling shows. And I've always been a fan of wrestling. I live in New Jersey. I'm right outside of Connecticut. Wrestling's huge out in the East Coast. And I was just goofing around. I was like, oh, Jonathan, that sounds like fun. And, you know, I could be like the next Miss Elizabeth, which is ridiculous because no one could ever fill her shoes. But it just shows how ignorant I really was. And he called me up a week later and said, I got you booked on a small independent show. Called in a favor. I was like, Jonathan, I'm only kidding. I really have no idea what I'm doing. And he said, well, just do this one show. You know, I called in favor. I said, okay. And I did it, and I was hooked. And at the time, I was working in Manhattan. I had just gotten a great job. I finished school, and I quit my job and pursued my wrestling career. I did the independents for 3 years. In 1998, the end of 98, I started with ECW. And I started with Lance Storm. And it was only supposed to be actually a one-night stint, which then grew to a 3-night stint in Louisiana. And Paul Heyman loved the chemistry between Lance and I, and he created a spot for me. I was only supposed to come in to go against Tammy Lynn Sitch at the time for, like I said, 1, and then it became 3 days, and wound up being almost 3 years.
Did you ever think this would lead to the WWE?
You know, you don't work as hard as you do when you truly want this to be your life, your career. It becomes your life. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When I was on the independents, when I made the decision, I quit a great job in New York. I was a director of international real estate consulting firm at 25. And I quit my job to pursue a wrestling career, and I wasn't going to take anything less than being the best at what I do. You don't go through what you go through to not have this goal in mind. So, you know, in my mind, it was just, there was nothing that was going to hold me back.
How hard is it to get into the wrestling industry being a female?
It's really hard. It's really hard for male or female. Like I said, wrestling is not a job, it's a lifestyle. And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have to work out. Working out is your job. It's not recreational. You have to eat well, you have to train well, you have to drink water. You can't go out drinking every night. I mean, this is my instrument. This is my tool of how I go to work. Just like a carpenter has tools. This is our tools, you know, and you gotta take care of yourself, especially as you get older.
Now, I was talking to somebody before. Last night in Regina, you met somebody special. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had an appearance in Regina, and we went to lunch, and I met this young lady. She was 9 years old, and I thought she was just incredible because at 9 years old, she was like, I'm going to be in the Olympics. She had 6 medals. She had just won from that weekend, gymnast. And I was asking her, God, how long have you been doing this? She said 6 years. And I was so impressed that at 9 years old, she knew what she was going to do for the next 10, 15 years of her life. Where at 9 years old, I didn't even know what color socks I was going to wear that day. You know, so I just was so impressed with that. And we arranged for her to come backstage and meet Kurt Angle because he's a real life Olympic gold medalist, and I just thought that would be really inspirational for her. The look on her face was just priceless. It makes everything we go through worthwhile. It really does.
Is fan interaction the most rewarding part of this job?
It's very rewarding. You know, I love my job, and I can't imagine ever doing anything else. And just every day, I really feel that it's a reward. And but being able to take our celebrity and bring it into the public, and be able to do something like that special for that young lady, or you know, I do a lot of stuff with the USO. It's so rewarding. It just makes everything so much better and so much more worth it. When you're waking up in the morning and you're so tired, it just makes you realize, wow, okay, I'm making a difference. You know, you hope that you're making a difference for someone.
Now, Dawn, you've been in the industry for about 10 years. What is the one career highlight that stands out so far?
I've had so many career highlights. I've been really fortunate. I've worked with some amazing athletes and had great experiences. To narrow it down to one is really hard. But I would say professionally, my career highlight would be my first pay-per-view here at the WWE. I can remember walking out on that stage and just stopping for a minute and just saying, wow, I made it. You know, it was at that point when I said, oh, I can't believe it. It never really hit me until that moment. I would say that would be professionally. Personally, I would say when we went over to Baghdad to see the troops in December, to be able to give back to our country the way that we did, and to see the looks on their faces and knowing that we helped them get through such a horrible time in those young soldiers' lives was really a personal reward.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us today, Dawn
Thank
Marie.
you.
And I'll go call my wife, see if maybe we can all go out for supper.
Yeah.
Do you like McDonald's?
That's great. I'm a cheap date.